Hey y'all, this is Billy Don Loper, the Magnolia Outreach Coordinator here at the Mississippi Library Commission. Today we're going to take a look at one of the great databases offered on Magnolia to all Mississippians through their local public school libraries, and academic libraries with support from the state legislature. So we're going to step over to a database view and I'm going to walk you through how to make most out of your time on Magnolia. So today we're going to be talking about the EBSCO database, Bibliography of Indigenous Peoples in North America. So this is a database that provides academic journal and periodical article information about the archaeology, ethnohistory, and folklore of indigenous peoples from the North American continent. And that will also include information about mythology, religions, and tribal governments. This is not just information about Native Americans, but also First Nation peoples from Canada, Native Mexican groups, and other North American indigenous groups. And we're going to talk about just generally how to use this database, show some of the information that might be available in it, and then talk a little bit about the types of research that it would be best for. The first thing I do want to point out is the MyEBSCO account. Be sure, if you have not already, to make your free MyEBSCO account. It just requires a name and an email address, and that will give you access to this My Dashboard area that we will go over in more detail at the end of today's presentation. So we're going to start out very quickly, just going over a quick search. So we're going to say Choctaw groups. And it is going to pull up a list of articles that are available about this information. Now you'll see up here you have your primary filters. You can apply a full text filter, which is going to pull it down to only be articles that are available in full. And then you can also pull down to peer reviewed, and that will filter down to information only provided by academic journals. There may be times where a periodical article is something you're more interested in, but if you're doing any kind of academic or rigorous research, be sure to select that peer-reviewed feature. Additionally, you can also filter down into a date range or by source type. So we're going to take a quick look at one of these articles, and you'll see that it provides you generally the metadata information, things about what publication it's from, what publication date it has, your access options. You'll also see your function buttons here in the right-hand corner where you can save it. If you were working on this for a research assignment, you can do a citation generation. You can save it to a project, and I'm going to save it to our Indigenous Research Project. That is related to the My Dashboard area, which we will go over in more detail soon. You can share it, and then you can download it in full. Of course, this one is available in full. If it was not a full text article, the download option might only be for the metadata. So it is important to be sure that you have that full text selected if you were wanting access to full PDFs. But let's take a moment and pull back from this more specific search and do one a little bit more specific. We'll do a quick search for Native Americans. We'll actually deselect our peer-reviewed selection here so it pulls in some periodical articles. You'll see here this one is from News from Native California. Whereas that is not an academic journal article, it would not pull up if we had that peer-reviewed selection chosen. But let's say we're wanting to limit our search a little bit here. We're going to use one of our Boolean phrases. So we're going to say and Mississippi. And that is going to pull up articles related to Native Americans in Mississippi. Now, very quickly, if you are not familiar with your Boolean search terms, you'll see a graphic here on screen explaining them. They are 3 words that help you limit your searches. So that's and, which includes both search terms, or, which includes one or the other, and not, which will include the first but not the second search term. So very quickly, let's take a look here. Now you'll see this resource is a book. If we click into it, you'll notice that it is available in full. Were you to click into it, you'll see the entire selection of the article from the book is available, but it is not the entire book. I want to pause and very quickly note that because there are a lot of chapter resources from books available in this database, but just because the resource says book and it pulls up under a full text search does not mean it is the entire ebook that is available. It means that it is a selected chapter related to your search within that book. So that is a very quick overview of the function of Bibliography of Indigenous Peoples in North America. If you are familiar with any of our EBSCO databases, such as Academic Search Premier, it functions the exact same. This is a great resource for local community researchers, students working on studying Native American peoples or other indigenous groups, or people with just a general interest in ethnohistory, archaeology, or culture of indigenous North Americans. This is also a great database for public libraries working on building displays, hoping to provide some nonfiction information about North American indigenous groups. So very quickly, let's go over the My Dashboard area before we end out our presentation today. So over here in my Dashboard, you'll see because we're logged into my EBSCO, you have access to the Projects area. If we click into it, you'll see all of the projects I have saved. We'll click into our Indigenous Research Project, and you'll see here is that resource that I saved. Were you to click into it, it will take you straight back to that resource page without you having to go back through and search for it again. Saved performs the same function, but you'll see that it is just a list of all articles I have ever saved, with them being listed in reversed chronological order. So you'll see we do still have access to that saved academic journal article. It would also take you to that resource page, but it does not organize them by our research categories. And then the other useful function here is recent activity that will show all of the searches we have performed since logging on to this database today. If we were to go back and click on our original search for Choctaw groups, you will see it takes you right back to that first search. So the My Dashboard area is a great way to be sure you're saving your research and you don't have to go back and dig for it again and again. As a quick reminder, Bibliography of Indigenous People in North America is a EBSCO database provided through MAGNOLIA in partnership with your public libraries and public school libraries. This is a great database for doing research on archaeology and ethnohistory, regardless of what type of research that is, whether it's community groups, students, casual researchers, or librarians and teachers hoping to build out projects and displays on North American indigenous peoples. Thanks.
The video you have just viewed is an MLC production, made possible in part with funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. We encourage you to visit our YouTube channel and our LibGuides for further resources and supporting content.